Stop telling everyone your plans and start showing them results. Most people spend more time talking about their dreams than actually executing them. And today we're going to break down why keeping quiet about your goals can actually help you achieve them much faster. Ladies, welcome back to the podcast. I'm your host, Ashleigh, and today we are talking about the art in moving in silence and why you should stop announcing your goals. This is one of my favorite topics, and I can't wait to dive into it with you. So please sit back, relax, and enjoy the podcast. Hopefully something resonates with you that you're able to take away. So let's talk about why talking about your goals gives a false sense of accomplishment. I was this person. I would talk about the things I wanted to do, that I was going to do, and how I was going to do them, but then never actually did them. Because what happened when I talked about them? Three things for me personally. One, I got the sense of accomplishment by talking about it. So I got this like release of dopamine that I was talking about the thing that I was going to do. So I was like, oh, I've done it. Like in my brain, it's like, oh, we did it. No, we didn't. I didn't see the outcome. Did you? Thus, it didn't get done. Two, I let other people's opinions pour fear and doubt into what I wanted to do. Instead of telling me how great it was or how it couldn't wait to see it work, they told me why it wouldn't and how it was silly and all the things that could go wrong with it and why I shouldn't do it. So I was like, well, fuck it, you're probably right. Shrunk myself and I was like, I won't do that then. That sounds right. It also creates this weird illusion that you're making progress when in reality, you're actually not. You've just verbalized the thing. So it's, I want to lose 50 pounds. I'm going to lose 50 pounds by summer. Amazing. What are you doing to get there? What steps are you taking to get there? Some research does show that when people announce their goals, it often feels less motivated, or they actually feel less motivated to follow through because their brain thinks they've already halfway done it. And I had to catch myself on this so many times to the point where I just don't tell people. Like my big goals, I don't tell people until the point that I'm doing it. And people are like, oh, I didn't know you did that. And I was like, well, that's because nobody knows. Like I keep my shit locked the fuck up because it's important to me. And I want to make sure I nail it. Number two, I truly believe in energy leaks. So announcing things makes you feel like you're less likely to follow through on them. So every time you share your vision with somebody, you're leaking energy and they're using your energy. So when you hear other people's opinions, feedbacks, even doubts from others, it can mess up the focus and that internal self-belief. It happened to me so many fucking times that I just got to the point where I was like, I know nothing. I know nothing. I can do nothing. I have terrible ideas, not very creative. Like, what's the fucking point? Like that's where I got. Simultaneously, not everybody is rooting for you. Some people unconsciously and consciously want you to fail, and that energy can actually interfere with like your movement, action is the word, action of doing the thing. Let's make that very clear. We allow things in our space and we tolerate things in our space, which brings me on to my next point. The silent execution method of top performers is most people rarely announce what they are working on until it's ready or in motion or completed. Billionaires, athletes, elite entrepreneurs, they're on show don't tell. They don't want to waste trying to prove themselves before the work is done. I live in this place. When you look at your life and you talk about the things that you want to do, is that a way of like a dopamine chase for you? And you're like, oh, that was nice. Or do you keep things to you? So this is the other side, right? Do you keep things to you so other people can't keep you accountable? I have mentors and coaches, and I also have friends who will keep me accountable and be like, you said you were doing this. Like, the fuck are you doing? Why aren't you doing it? Simultaneously, I do the same thing for them. You said you were going to do this. Why aren't you doing it? That to me is a great partner or a great friend when you can pull somebody up on the things that they're not doing that they said they were going to do. They're the people you want in your circle. Not the ones who tell you how fantastic you are 24/7 when you're probably not, because nobody's fantastic 24/7. When you stay quiet, you control the narrative and you focus on the results. When you stop looking for outside validation before the work is done. So sometimes when we're in amongst the work and building stages and there's no validation coming back in, we like try and seek it. So we're like, oh, this is what I'm doing. Look what I'm doing. Look out, whatever. right? To seek that validation, to confirm that what we're doing is a good thing or the right thing or whatever else. Stop it. Like, stop that. Stop trying to seek outside validation from different people and come back to self. What you're doing is a good thing. Where you're moving, you know where you're going. And that inner knowing is all that you need. So let's talk through some actionable takeaways that you can do to integrate this into your life. So my first takeaway for you would be to keep big goals private until you've taken real action on them. So if you're going to share, only tell people who are directly involved in helping you achieve it. Can you work on something without the need of external validation? This one was really hard for me for a period of my life because all I loved was outside validation. That's how that was like my dripping sauce. Like, yeah, right? Is what it is. But when I shifted that from, I don't need people to know what I'm doing unless you're helping me in some way, I'm keep that shit to myself. And after it's done, I'm going to show you. So then the next one would be set internal milestones instead of external validation. So measure your progress. Measure your progress by your actions, not by how many people know about your goals. So let's say your goal is to save $100 per week, right? Perfect. Amazing. How are you going to measure your actions? Are you going to do it by telling people about it, or are you going to do it by implementing systems and strategies in your life to ensure that you stay on track to measure your progress? Which then leads me into celebrate your progress privately so your motivation stays internal. When you rely, and I'm 90% sure that David Goggins talks about this, if you can get to a place where all your motivation is internal, like an internal motivation drive, you've won the game, because you're no longer relying on external to give you that motivation, because if the external's not there, you're not motivated. Whereas if the internal motivation is coming from you, it will drive you all the time, anywhere, at any time of your life. And that was probably one of the most things I heard from David Goggins about motivation and it coming from an internal source. And then last but not least is focus on execution first, announcements later. When you do finally decide to share, do it from a place of strength, showing success, not seeking approval. You're sharing what you've done because you're proud of it, and you might want to inspire or impact or whatever it is for you. It's for you, not for them. You don't need someone to be like, yay, good job, clap for yourself. Like, clap for you. Because when nobody's around who's clapping for you, have the validation and the motivation and everything come from internally. Because let me tell you, when everything comes from internally from you, the game changes. Because it's this weird liberating feeling. So to me, the art of moving in silence helps you learn so many things about yourself that it's an internal job. And when you come from an internal place and you're no longer seeking validation for something, it becomes this place of, for me, it became all about my work in like an impact way. I'm no longer seeking outside validation for what I'm doing. So it becomes about how meaningful and impactful my work can be. How many lives can I change, or how much can I be of service to other people through the things that I want to create? And that to me is a far better place than chasing validation. I made the comment on my social media and I explained why I want to improve on something. And I take hiking to an extreme because when I started, I wanted to get better and better and better and better. And then I started running and I was like, okay, I could probably do a half marathon, and I did it. And then I'm like, okay, well, we'll do a full marathon. Let's prepare for that. It was never about me trying to be like, okay, we should go and do a race so we can do this. It's just one day I wake up, I set my Nike up and I run. And if I run to a marathon, amazing. Like, I just fucking did something. And now I can do it again and again and again, because I'm no longer chasing the validation of people to see the things that I can complete, because it's coming from a different place. So what the art of moving in silence taught me is that sometimes the best way to move is from a place that nobody knows what you're doing. Nobody knows where you are. Nobody knows what you're creating, and nobody knows what move you're going to do next. And I think that's a fantastic place to be, personally. Like, for me personally, that is ultimate privacy. If you can hold yourself to an internal standard of what you want, where you're going, who you're going with, what you're creating, and what you're putting into the world, I truly believe that the outside noise doesn't matter. And because of that, the game changes. I hope that this was insightful for you. Maybe you resonated with some of it, maybe you didn't, and that's okay. But maybe there was one small nugget in here that you're like, I could see how I need to do that, or I see how I do that. Maybe I chase validation or dopamine in my goals, so I never really complete them, and you need to work out how to do them, and that's fantastic. So, recap on the actionable takeaways is keep your goals private until you're ready to take action. Set internal milestones instead of external validation, and focus on execution first, announcements later. You don't need to prove anything to anyone. So let them be shocked when you show up with results. Execute now. Talk later. Thank you so much for joining me on today's episode. I hope it was insightful for you or you resonated deeply with it. Either way, I am thankful to be here and bring you this episode. If you have any comments or requests on topics for me to talk about, please let me know. I would be more than happy to put them out there for you. And with that, I'm your host, Ashleigh, and thank you so much for joining me on today's episode.